a lot of people tend to see art as in two layers. There's art that's the traditional, lives in the museum, is held behind the glass wall, that's for the sort of like highest echelon of society, if you will. And then there's art that's public art, that's murals on the sides of bus stops and things that are in people's faces. Like they can't not see it, they don't have a choice in seeing it or not because it's for the people, it's put out there. I think those are two really different approaches towards art that don't really capture the space in between. And I very much see a program like this as being really instrumental in bridging that gap.
It feels awesome to be here. It feels awesome for them to provide such a big space for me to work in, so that the freedom that they give you and just the opportunities that come through that door when you walk in and you say, this is your studio and you've got 2 months to make something cool, and it's low pressure, but it's also just like really exciting and you're striving to make something really cool out of it.
I've been able to do things that I could never do. I have a home office, and it's a small home office. There's a lot of things I just can't do in there. Like putting things up on the walls to look at and sort of rearrange them and think about things more visually and more spatially. I also don't have the room to sort of work on these sort of larger assemblages, and that's been amazing to be able to sort of, it feels a little bit like I'm jumping off a cliff working on stuff that's this large, that's sort of out of my comfort zone, but I really feel like that's what the residency's been for. It's been to push me to do things that I wouldn't do normally, and to use the time to really take some chances and see where they might lead.
One of the things that is difficult about art in many cases, you have to choose between making work that is safe or making work that you know is commercially viable or making the work you want to make. And it requires a lot of courage to make the work you want to make, knowing full well that someone might not pay for it, but it's better work. And so having the funding in this situation has facilitated me to make work that I feel is not as safe, that might not be as well received based on my past work, and people are going to come in and expect certain things and I might not be giving them what they expect. But that funding is crucial because that allows artists to be what artists truly are, which are people that can push some buttons, have some social and cultural critique, and facilitate conversation.
So the residency, for me, just being able to work and make work that I probably wouldn't be able to make, right? Having the space and the resources and a group of people that I really trust.
I've never been in an environment in Charlotte, like I know so many creative people, but we've never had a space to gather. You know, music has been my gathering space, but now this is a space to gather. I come in here and I talk to Blaine and Holly, and like me and Lee, you know, being around these other people who make stuff and have the same, you know, kind of spirit is the most inspiring thing. You know, it breathes life into all of us.
I feel like there should be more stuff like this, because I think the more artist-run spaces that we have, the more attractive it becomes as an art community, and the more artists we keep, the more young artists that are, you know, coming out of school like want to stay here, and then eventually, like, I guess the ideal would be people would want to move here because of it.
To me, having a place right here, right in downtown, is super important. It's a little more of like, you know, flag on the moon, kind of like, all right, you know, you're not shoving us out into the outskirts. Again, we're right here, and we figured out a way to overcome the buildings being torn down situation, because Goodyear is mobile. If this building gets torn down, it's just going to move to another space.
It's not really a subversive space, but it's not a traditional space. And I think the events that they have here, the shows that they have here, the work that's being shown here is just broadening the public's horizon of what art is and what art can be.